Hello and welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. We've got some Le-Vel coming in hot today. This is a training that was sent to me by a subscriber, so shout out to the individual who sent it my way. Thank you so much. I have reacted to this team in the past. You might remember the individual who was leading this call as the one who compared Le-Vel to drug money.
I know compliance doesn't like us saying this because some people be getting in trouble when we say this.
Oh boy,
here it comes.
But this is where we make cartel money, okay? This is gangster money.
Yeah, that's the one. We're gonna get right into it right after this disclaimer.
Buckets from the court side to the nosebleeds, yeah, they love it. I'm winning, get buckets from the first in and the last out, see me coming. First take, I'm hotter than hot, hotter than some boiling water, I bubble the pot.
Okay, now that that is out of the way, we have one more piece of housekeeping to get through. And if you are not new here, you already knew this was coming. You also know that you can skip ahead by going to the bar at the bottom of the screen and going to Reaction Starts Here. Or you can go to the description and click on the timestamp where it says Reaction Starts Here. Otherwise, if you are new here, please give this a listen at least one time and make it as quick and painless as possible. I do not blur the names or the faces of the individuals that I'm reacting to in my videos. This does not mean that I'm encouraging anybody to go and seek these individuals out and send them hateful messages or mean comments. I'm sure these people are lovely in real life, so please do not do that. My content is meant to be educational, but most of all, entertaining. So let's all do our part and keep it that way, and with that, we're gonna get the into it. All right, so really quickly, if you are not familiar with Le-Vel or the Thrive product line, Le-Vel is another health and wellness MLM, multi-level marketing company, network marketing company, Ponzi scheme, pyramid scheme.
So it's a Ponzi scheme within a Ponzi scheme.
Those are your words, not mine. And you may recognize them most first from the Shanann Watts case, but secondly, from the wearable nutrition that they promote. And these are the patches that you see on the screen here that you will very blatantly see these consultants wearing so that you ask them what the the stickers are all over their body. So now that we have a little bit of background on Le-Vel and Thrive, we're gonna get right into this shit show of a training call.
Also, Coop, you are, I'm telling you that you are gonna be co-host, even though you don't have to do anything, just in case my internet gets a little bit sketchy, you are back up. So thank you for that. I am just so excited. You know, I was saying whenever I first started the Zoom that we have seasons of, I'm gonna interrupt myself a lot because I'm so excited. I said the other day, you have to be mental to be in this industry. You literally have to be crazy to be in this industry. I said something else, but I don't want to be offensive because y'all know I struggle with mental health, right? I was like, I think I have to be bipolar to be in this industry.
What the f did you just say?
And I'm not saying that offensive. I'm saying there are days where I am having this manic high and you're enrolling all of these people. And then there are days where you're like, I suck. There is nobody else out there, right? And you're not actively thinking those things. You don't wake up and go, I'm going to be a negative Nancy today. But it's
Ma'am, you're gonna have to reel it in. You cannot go around comparing your multi-level marketing scheme to having bipolar disorder. They are two totally different things. Yes, there are ups and downs to any business or job that you have, but it is nowhere close to what bipolar disorder is. So maybe check yourself.
You better check yourself before you wreck yourself.
those things that creep in your head. And I'm like, it is like this roller coaster, and you literally have to just decide to get on the ride, strap in, and that you're not getting off. It's going to, you might throw up, but you will laugh, you will throw your hands up, and there are going to be times in this industry where your stomach is in your throat. And I promise you, there has never been a time where my stomach hasn't been in my throat, where it's right back up the mountain and it's like, woo! Yes, this is so much fun. And isn't that really how life is in general? As an adult, as a mom, as a dad, as a friend, as a spouse, some seasons it's like, this is so much fun. And then there's other seasons where you're like, if I can hear you chew one more time, there's a knife right over there. I can't take it anymore. I just think that network marketing is no different. And we really have the best, business model out there, because the thing is, you guys, we can still show up on our hard days. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit with Allie. with Kelly, who went through absolute hell all during January. Like literally, I don't know if there was one more thing that life could have punched her in the gut with. And it's just, I don't know. I'm just so excited. I don't really remember what my point was because see, then I get ahead of myself and I forget what I was even talking about. Like, I don't know. But I am so excited to hear from these gentlemen tonight that are behind our company, that you can tell. And if you're new here, and you ever feel like you will, if you don't, you will, like spoiler alert, you'll feel like, oh, am I going to sign another customer? Or oh, and you will see that this company throws you the ball over and over and over. Like I even still forget. I'm like, okay, duh, they're going to pass us the ball court. Like stay with your shoes laced up. And it will happen over and over and over again with the products that they develop, with the comp plan enhancements that just came out, that I am seeing so many of you. If you've earned one of those already, comment below, just like racking up. I'm so freaking proud of you and inspired by you. With just so many things, trips that are launching. Cliff's going to tell us where we're going tonight. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I just wanted to get a reaction.
Nice one. Nice try. I love that. Hey, if you don't ask, you never, the answer is always no.
And just everything that they do, they may not tell us, and people will ask me, do you know? And I'm like, Cliff's not going to tell me. I have the biggest mouth.
You don't say.
He's not going to call me and tell me. I promise you that. But they're always 10 steps ahead of us. They have a pulse of the field, and we are so lucky because never once have I looked at them and said, oh, they're scaling back, or oh, they're trying to do this. It is always they are trying to keep the heartbeat and pulse of our team, of this company, going positive and growing. And it's obvious in everything that you guys do. So I could talk all night. I'm so fired up, so pumped up. Maybe it's because I'm on the roller coaster that's going ding, 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 ding right now. And it's just like your hard work, it compounds and it starts to pay off. Right whenever you start to doubt yourself, you get those messages of, I am ready to order, or I'm tired of watching you. I promise you, your efforts will compound. So I'm going to let you guys take it away. Cliff, Jason, thank you for being on. And I am going to then pass it over to Kelly and Allie, who their last few weeks, they've left me with my jaw on the ground. Like they are just phenomenal what they have decided to do. So Cliff, Jason, whichever one of you wants to go first.
Jason, you go first. I always seem to start these off, so it's all yours.
Courtney, thank you, Cliff. It's good to be with you tonight and your team. You know, the first thing that pops into my mind as I get to see and meet so many new people.
I was looking around trying to find him on the screen. Like, does she not even have him spotlighted? You know what I mean. But I found him. And also, since I brought that up, I don't know why this team always has their meetings on gallery view, but I will have everybody blurred out except for the individuals who are speaking. Just so you know, if you're trying to find somebody on the screen, they will be the one not blurred.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
I just had to make it clear.
There is some of the phenomenal changes that have just happened in this company during the last week. I believe that
Pause for dramatic effect.
if companies that are in this industry don't start to make changes, like
Okay, really quickly, I'm unblurring somebody who is not speaking because I can't stop watching her. She is on a train, and I wasn't gonna say anything at first, but now you could tell she's taking like a story or a boomerang to post to probably brag about how she has location freedom and time freedom. But boo, that is not a flex. This is not a flex. You are working on a train, and nobody wants to do that. I'd rather be snuggled up with a blankie on a train watching a movie or reading a book or not having to worry about work while I am traveling on a train. Absolutely not. Anyway, moving on. Let's hear what this guy has to say.
you're seeing Le-Vel doing, that many of these companies are going to go out of business. We live in a completely different industry than we did 10 years ago, and most certainly 20 years ago. So it's, I believe that you're hitched to the right company for sure. What company pays you $2,000 to go out and sign up customers and get literally a third of what they just purchased. 100.
Well, let's start with a pyramid scheme. What the fuck? This is the VP of strategy and growth saying the quiet part out loud without actually realizing he's saying the quiet part out loud. You are paying your consultants to have people join. That is the definition of a pyramid scheme. What are we missing?
$50 purchase gives you $50 in your pocket. Unheard of, unreal, unmatched. And not to mention the daily reload of your PPA. You know, think about that. You're essentially in a VIP status every day, and it resets. And so if you're wanting to make money and make a business out of this, you're in the right place. So first and foremost, some huge announcements that were made last week. You know, the qualification part of moving that back to really where it should be, where it makes it.
Oof, this man talks painfully slow. So just so you know, he is going to be sped up just a little, just to make it tolerable for you.
Levels it out for, you know, customers and promoters alike. So it makes it easier for you to go out and get qualified, to go out and help other team members get qualified. So keep pushing the rank advancements, keep pushing the customer acquisitions every day. You know, we've got promos that run quite often, and you know, there's a reason that promos run, right? I mean, it's this is a sales and marketing business that we're in, right? And you need to remember that every day when you wake up, you need to wake up and go, yep, this is a sales and marketing business, and I've got the very best product to sell, and I've got the very best business opportunity to market, right? And as you go out every day with that mindset, that wake up, do it again, it's like going to the gym, right? You go to the gym every day and it's the same damn thing, right? Sometimes you get sick of it. But I love what Courtney said, you know, there's the good days and the bad days, there's the ups and downs. Look, we're all people. People are people.
People are people. We are all people. Okay, people?
And if somebody's putting on a happy face that they never have down days, they're full of it. Everyone has ups and downs, and every business has ups and downs. And, you know, I'm one of the most high-strung people there are. You know, so often my wife is like, hey, enjoy the journey. I'm like, I'm not there yet. I can't enjoy it until I get there. And then when I get there, I'm like, there's somewhere else to go or something else to do, right? And, you know, as I've learned to sit back and enjoy my children, they're all adults now, and enjoy business, enjoy what I do. I love what I do. I don't have to work. I work because I love it. And I love being on calls like this. I love to see people's lives change. I love more than anything to hear the success stories of people that say, my life is better because I'm on Thrive 123. And my life is better because I built a business and I can put my kids in hockey or karate or dance or whatever it is, or a special school, or just put food on the table or pay the electric bill, whatever it is.
The odds of you being able to do one of any of those things from joining an MLM are so slim that it's sickening.
It won't happen.
If you look up the statistics through the FTC, over 99% of people who join MLMs lose money. So no, you won't be able to pay for dance or soccer or buy a fridge or whatever these consultants are going to tell you can do. So just know that. Also, that article that I'm referring to is always listed in my description.
This business changes lives. And so just wanted to kind of remind everyone about, hey, we're all in this together. Every day we wake up, we do it again. We are on calls like this all the time, and they probably seem monotonous. And, you know, it's old wine in a new bottle, if you will. But that's what life is, right? That's who we are. We're creatures of habit. And the better we learn how to create and control that environment and enjoy that environment, the better off we're going to be. So, Cliff, I'll kick it back over to you.
You hit on a good point. And Courtney,
Is he recording on a potato?
Too, right? Well, we have ebbs and flows, right? If you're on the coast, you know what that means, right? You know, it's kind of a sailing acronym. You know, you're tacking back and forth, you know, going, but you're always going in the direction you want to. And thinking that you're always going to be on a high constantly, you can't do that. Your body can't sustain that. You need to come back down for a second, take a breather, and then go back up, right? I think everybody that's on this call right now, when I look at, all 84 participants, unless you're brand new, you're going to hit a plateau. You're going to hit a roadblock. You're going to need to figure out what to do. The best thing that you can do is raise your hand and say, I need help. I need help on something. Just simple as can be. I don't think anybody in Courtney's team, Grace on Fire, is going to judge you, is going to say anything, right? I think it's the best thing that you can always do is raise your hand and say, help me. I don't know what to do in this situation. Like, I don't know how to get, the system's not working. Let me show you what I can do to help you. I can't get this customer to understand something. Let me show you how I get through these things. Yeah, this one promoter just I know she'll make an amazing promoter. I know he'll make an amazing promoter, but I just can't convince them. Let me show you how I've been able to do this. That's the goal and the purpose of teams. And that's why you are successful, is by leveraging your teams. Jason and myself are good at tasks, and we're good at doing certain things. Jason's way smarter and more knowledgeable in the industry and on growth. I've got a little more history in the Le-Vel side of it. Together, we become a very powerful group. Then you start putting IT, you start putting our support departments. We start layering these people together because no one person can do it all. It's just an impossibility. But to come together as a team and then to link arms and say, we all are going to go stronger, faster, and harder together.
That's what she said.
I'm a child. I'll keep my comments to myself, but I'm going to have to put some kind of clip here to express how much of a 12-year-old boy I am. I'm not even sorry.
Peaks and valleys, as it's kind of like as you're going up, you'll continue on it, but they get smaller in amplitude as you do that, rather than big ones, right? If you started up and had no upline, nobody there to help you, you're going to do this. It's going to be mass ones. But when you can come together and say, hey, I need some help, and your sisters join arms and go with you, it's sky's the limit on what you can do. And what we're here to do from the corporate side is to give you all the tools to try and make that easier. And I think these promos, especially the one that we're seeing right now, I think y'all like this. I think the products actually hit the right spot. I think it's a great promo to get growth going, and you tie it together with what we've got with the daily and the weekly TPA opportunities. Like, I'm seeing y'all move volume right now that I haven't seen historically sometimes, unless it's on like BOGOs or tag teams. And I'm loving this, by the way, because that means people are working. And when you're working, you're going to see that in your check next week and the weeks after that. But what I'm the most excited about, and this is like, seriously, I'm looking at numbers, I'm just constantly refreshing, is the amount of new customers and new promoters created just this weekend. Today alone, you have created over 3,000 new customers, just customers. That's multiply by 30. Look how many you've got out there at that point. That is the opportunity of you grasping on to new business building functions and growing, because I guarantee one of those customers today will be our next 200K eventually. So
why does that always have to be the goal with customers? Why is the end goal with your customers and MLMs to get them to join your team? I'm going to refer to Target again, because we all know that is the first store my brain goes to. I'm walking into Target. Do you think that any of the employees, the manager, even the owner of the store is going to look at me as a possible recruit for Target? Fucking no, they want me to buy their shit because that's how they make their money, because that's how an actual business runs. They're not going to try to recruit me onto the sales team, the retail team, the whatever team they're looking for applicants for. They're not trying to recruit all of the people that walk through the door to buy stuff. An actual business is there to sell you shit, not to look at you as somebody who's going to buy things for a while and then eventually join the team. That's not how this fucking works. I'm sorry, I'm in a mood again today.
if you keep doing that day after day, I mean, like, that's how you build your business, is the new growth and the new opportunities that you're bringing into yourself. And I'll stop using opportunity because I don't want to play the word out, but it's like you're putting yourself on fire, and you're going to see this in the next weeks and months grow tremendously, like what we saw, 5, 6 years ago before I was even here. And Courtney could probably say, yeah, that's what, like we were popping 40Ks left and right, and people were just hitting their bonuses and hitting this. We didn't have as many of great opportunity or great promos and such running at that point in time. So don't stop. Whatever you're doing right now, continue to do it. If you're plugging in on three-way calls and Zooms and FaceTime lives and stuff like that, keep it going. It's working. This is going to be so amazing at the end of the month. I'm not going to have people fretting to try and maintain a rank. They're going to be pushing to hit that next highest possible rank that's out there. I'm not worried about people that are like, I don't have that one last customer on auto ship. They're going to be going, Cliff, I'm like 2 away from hitting the 40 that Jason was talking about to getting the $2,000 bonus. We've been seeing the daily counters just growing, and that's what we want to see, right? People are engaged, people are running, people are moving. So keep focusing on that. Keep getting that one new promoter a day, right? One new promoter a day on a promoter upgrade pack. Boom, you're right there. You've hit your daily goal, right? For what you need.
Why can't they just focus on selling? Why can't they just focus on selling the 3-step bullshit that they sell already? Again, the end goal is always recruit.
But then the passion of that new promoter right there. Oh my God, I can do this, right? I've just sold this person on the opportunity. And you've got customers that are going on the health side, and you're combining them together, and you're just building steam. It's exciting. It's super, like, again, like I'm seeing numbers like this month alone, okay, we're 19 days into this month. Follow me here. We have created over 35,000 new customer accounts. That is like, we're 19 days into the month, guys. That is huge opportunity. I get some of them might have been fake, all right, because we ran a free account leaderboard and stuff on that. But it doesn't matter.
What is that? What was the thing that you just said?
Sir, you all right? Just checking in, because I'm pretty sure you could get in trouble for creating new accounts that are fake, but we're just going to brush right over that from the VP of operations. I'm not going to brush right over that. You're not supposed to be creating fake accounts. No. That's not supposed to be happening.
Matter if you're putting in the right stuff, right? If you're not just trying to run for some free credits, if you're putting in those customers and doing it, this is going to be monumental when you get into March, into April from those customers, and you're keeping the outreach going and those new promoters, and they're just running of like what you're going to see with you and all your teams. So keep up the speed, keep up the pace. Keep pushing for, if you're outside of it and you're hitting that 400 PPA daily opportunity, you're in a VIP reset every single day. Think of it that way, right? Boom, you're just hitting it. Boom. Well, what about my new friend who just joined? Get them through VIP 1600 as soon as possible and get them going in this again. It's going to run through the end of March, right? So this is that time. If there ever was time to make sure that when you hit summertime, you're going to be like on fire at that point, walking wherever you needed to. So that's why I would say, yeah, we do have some fun stuff coming. Yeah, I will give you a hint. Yes, we should be releasing the dates and the location for where the getaway is going to be this week. The contract is in final legal approval. So again, I don't promise something until I have black ink on it. It can be dripping wet ink, but it's got to be there just in case, right? But last 2 weeks of June is when we're looking for it. So I will give that hint, right? If you're planning on something, it should be in one of those last 2 weekends of June, because first ones, all the East Coast people, you guys probably still have kids in school, I think, at that point, but they'll be near the end. And then we got Thrive-Palooza. And Jason will, be my backstop on this. If you've not gotten your ticket, this is that opportunity to go in and make sure you do it. I'm not trying to force you to buy a ticket. I'm trying to force you to invest in yourself, to invest in your teams, to come have a good time with us in New Orleans. I mean, shoot, come on. Some of the best food that you could eat is in that area. But
if you have time to eat it, when you go to these conventions that he's talking about, their palooza, blah, blah, bullshit, you don't have time to go pee or sleep because you're so busy running from conference room to conference room, from the arena that you might have to go to go to the daily session. You don't have time to enjoy where you're going. So it doesn't matter where they go, you're going to be stuck in that conference center for most of the time, unless Plus, you, out of pocket, pay for extra days to stay and see things that you want to see and try different food. So just stop the bullshit.
You're going to learn with the breakout sessions with your peers, what you're going to learn with the breakout sessions of people we're bringing in outside of Le-Vel to help come talk with stuff, what you're going to learn on the main stage and the new stuff we're going to throw out. I know there's if I can get Mr. Camper to approve this, there'll be a pretty cool prize, but you got to be there to win it. So that's something nice, right? So if you don't go, you can't win type situation. But get to Thrive-Palooza because it truly is an investment in you. And look, everybody's been asking me, well, Cliff, are you going to run any type of bonus? There any opportunity for us to like pay for our airfare and all that? I think we're running them right now. So if you're hitting these, trust me, you should have cash starting to flow into your accounts, into your onto your prepaid card, however, whatever you use. That's where we need to go with. And we're going to have a good time on that. And Courtney, I'll turn it back over to you so I can quit talking for a minute.
I'm so excited about Palooza, you guys. I've never missed one. It's a non-negotiable for my business. Okay, well, my first Palooza, I missed some of the events, but I wasn't sober. And it also was in New Orleans. So I am very excited. This is like redemption for me, that I'm going to make it to all of the events this time in NOLA. It was my first Palooza and it was wild. But you guys, it is so worth it. I can never think of a time where I have been around other Thrivers and left defeated, deflated every time I get around other Thrivers. I just went with Cassandra and her team. It fills my cup up. It re-inspires me because truthfully, as a leader, and you're all leaders, you're never done learning. You're never done growing. Rubbing elbows with someone that has the same vision and mission as you, there is something.
You guys, I don't know if I've ever brought this up, but first of all, she said something about pouring into each other, and that grosses me out because just don't do that. That's it. It's just gross. We don't need to be pouring into each other. But second, I fucking hate elbows. Like, hate them. If I see the elbow skin, aka the weenus,
Think about your weenus.
or if I touch, I have a visceral reaction to the feeling of an elbow. So when she says we're pouring into each other and rubbing elbows, I want to shrivel up and die. That's all. Back to our regularly scheduled programming.
So powerful about getting around somebody else and just catching that vision. I mean, you guys, I was a 200K in the industry before I caught the vision of the actual industry and realized it was way bigger than just me and, my goal. And if you are even thinking maybe sort of, I can't encourage you enough, get there. If you're like, I absolutely cannot, I'm having a baby, or I get it, put it on your vision board though for the next years. To me, I would miss a getaway before I'd miss Palooza. It's like, I don't know, it's like your yearly checkup, like you just don't miss it. I go and I get all acclimated for my business again. I get to see people that I don't always get to see. I get to see side sisters. I get to hear speakers, and it's really something I can't explain to you. You have to go and experience it. And also, I'm doing, I rented out Pat O'Brien's. We have half of the spots still left. So there are 20 spots still left. And yes, it's open bar. So please handle yourself accordingly. Cliff, the first year.
Yeah, those hurricanes are deadly, by the way. I've been there in college many a time. Be careful. There's another place called Tropical Isle. Stay away from the hand grenades. Not a good idea.
Funny story, not funny then, but funny now. My first conference was in NOLA. I rented out Pat O'Brien's then, and someone left in an ambulance from the party. So we are not doing that this year. I want you to be responsible, but have a freaking blast. And so many of you have messaged me and been like, hey, are there any spots left? I probably didn't earn it. And I'm like, yes, you did. You're one of the first 10 to earn it. So there are 20 spots still left for that dinner. And literally there is a fire code. So this is not imaginary spot. We're maxing it out. I just want to remind you of that. I do not care if it's 8 enrollments that are balanced customers. I want you there. I want you next to me. I want to be able to love on you, spend time with you. My husband will be there, and just really get to spend some good time celebrating these last few months. I can't wait for that. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Kelly. Kelly asked me to ask her questions because she said her kids are wild, and she's like, this will help me stay on track. The thing about Kelly that some of you may not know, I don't know if she's going to go into this, but Kelly's a comeback kid. And whenever the person that enrolled Kelly, first of all, is no longer here, okay, boo-hoo, right? Kelly can tell you all day long, she's just like me. We're kind of like sponsorless. Who cares? Kelly's still going to go and make sure that her babies are taken care of. She's still going to make sure that she is gunning for every single thing that Le-Vel puts on the table. Why do I say that? Why?
Well, that should be a sign that both of your sponsors are no longer there. The two people who recruited the both of you are gone. Why are they gone? And how many team members have you had that have left since you joined? Because that is an important statistic to be telling people who are potentially thinking about joining this bullshit quote unquote business opportunity.
Does that matter to you? Because I know some of you also may be in that same situation. And I want you to hear Kelly tonight and her story through the ears of someone who could have been like, well, my sponsor left. I don't have anybody to build with. Kelly didn't need that. Kelly needed a community. She got back to the products that absolutely changed her life, and she picked this up and she didn't waste one single minute, taking this opportunity for granted. And so Kelly, the first thing I want to ask you, and because like I mentioned, in January, she had a really rough month. I don't remember how many of your family were in the hospital, out of the hospital, appendicitis, I think even right around that time, Jack lost one of his front teeth. I was trying to make you go to the hospital because you were sicker than a dog. Like, it was bad in her household, okay? Like, I was worried. We needed to do an intervention because they were so sick. And Kelly had, what would you say to someone that has had a rough personal month? How did you come out of January where literally this was not I always say, like, you got to know when to call in sick to work. You've got to know whether it's like, I don't really feel like working my business, or like, no, Kelly couldn't lift her head without feeling like she was going to pass out. Her kids were so sick. So that was definitely a true rough month for you, Kelly. How did you bounce back in February without feeling defeated or feeling like, how do I start again? Or what was your mentality?
So I feel like I'm not really going to say anything too super profound right now, but my notes that I wrote down were actually the exact same things, Courtney, that you said, and Cliff, you said, you guys, that like, there's going to be ups and downs in business, right? You know that. You did not sign up for a rocket ship. Nobody takes off like this and just stays going like this the whole time. That's just not the way it works, right? You're on the roller coaster. It goes up and down and up and down. So you buckle your seatbelt, right? You stay on that roller coaster. The really cool thing about the bottoms, you guys, is that there's only one way for it to go, which is right back up. So you got—
That's false in an MLM. If you are at the bottom, the odds of you going up are slim. Again, just like the FTC says.
Got to make sure your seatbelt is buckled, right? So yeah, in January, it was bad. Like, when I say it was bad, it wasn't just like, I'm lazy, I don't feel like posting right now, I don't care about my business. Like, we were so sick that Courtney really was. She was begging me to go to the hospital along with Allie and half my friends, just because I wasn't getting better. And so I was in this mindset of, okay, today is my worst day. I'm not going to post right now because I don't know what to say, and my brain is foggy, and I'm clearly very ill. Like, you could see it all over my face, but tomorrow I'm going to be better. So tomorrow I'm going to make a really good post. And then tomorrow would come and I'd be sicker. I'm like, shoot, okay, it's really hard to get on my stories right now and talk about health products and feeling energy and feeling good when I think I might be dying. And then, yeah, my daughter, who's 10, got appendicitis and was in the hospital, emergency surgery. So we really, really went through it. But what I can tell you is that when you have months like that, or just times in your life, you guys, you're either going to use that moment and that time as an obstacle or as an opportunity. I was either going to sit back and say, well, I guess that's it. My business is in the trash and my PPA is in the trash. And how in the world am I going to earn Courtney's dinner when I haven't worked in 3 weeks straight? And how in the world am I going to hit this trip when I have not been planting seeds right now? But instead, I used it as an opportunity to, first of all, one, I had never done a detox, you guys. We've had detox for 2 years now. You guys all did it at the beginning of January. I'll just be straight up honest with you and say, I didn't have a bad attitude in December, but when I found out you guys were doing it last minute, I'd already had a plan for January, you guys. I was like, nope, January 1, my workouts start, my high protein starts. I'm doing Thrive Elite, I'm doing my shakes. And I heard detox, and I was like, not for me. Your girl's going to be getting into gym shape. I'm going to be using a transformation post for, exploding my business in 2024. But God had other plans for me, and that didn't happen. And so now I laugh because as soon as I got through January, I sat back and I was like, okay, what are you going to do, Kel? Like, what are you going to do right now? And then the detox was just like staring me in the face. And I'm like, okay, you should be detoxing if you are fatigued, chronically ill, headaches, digestion issues. And I'm like, check, like all the way down. I'm like, well, I might as well. Like, go big or go home, right?
You never need a detox in your entire life, ever. Let me backtrack. There are certain situations where you might need a detox, right? Like addiction type things and things like that. But if your body is functioning at a normal, like homeostasis level and you're healthy, you don't ever need a fucking detox. That's expensive pee. That's all you're purchasing when you go and fall for the detox things. Your liver and your kidneys are your detox system. And if those are up to speed and working good, you don't need a detox. So just know that for the future. This is a waste of money.
Right. And so I use that as a way to start a new story, essentially. It was going to be really hard for me to jump back in and just be like, hey, I'm here. I'm alive. All is well. And instead use my story of like, hey, you know what, you guys, I've been really, really sick. I'm going to be straight up. I'm like the opposite of a hypochondriac to a fault. But like, I really thought there was a chance that I could have something terminal in January. So like, I'm going to use this time to put value on a product that we have. I'm going to show you all what it's going to do. And I'm going to get back to where I was pre-sickness. And honestly, I am so excited right now. I have no idea if any of that made sense, but like, I am more excited now because of what the detox, doing it, talking about it, my inbox exploded since doing that. It has just created so many new conversations for me that like never existed before. I've been doing this for 9 years, you guys, and I have friends in the space who have watched the entire time who are just now reaching out about trying a product. They didn't care about Thrive. They didn't care about my collagen. They didn't care about the other companies I was with, but all of a sudden I mentioned detox and healing and fixing my gut and, getting over all the sicknesses. And now the whole world is interested. So it was a huge wake up call to me that like, if you haven't done that, to like, maybe try it. Don't have a bad attitude like me and think that you don't need a detox or you have other plans. Like just give something else different a shot, because honestly, it has been a drastic difference in, just my fire for this business. The other thing that I did coming off of January was I am so numbers driven and so rewards driven. Do you guys love our trackers? Like who turns up for a freaking tracker in the back office? As soon as I see that a trip tracker has loaded, a rank match bonus has loaded, these daily PPA bonuses that we can earn $200 a day cash have loaded, that will light me up faster than anything else. I'm like, cool. All I got to do is $1,500 in PPA for the trip. You guys are going to give me 3 months? Done. Courtney's like, you need 8 enrollments for my dinner. And I have a goose egg, but I've got detoxes that are only $50 and $25 with the $25 preload. Cool. I'm going to sign 8 detox customers like tomorrow. Okay. So like use those trackers. If those don't get you excited, I don't even know if you're human. So yeah, that's what I have for that one. Sorry.
No, I love that. And I just put this in the chat. So she was at 0 and she was the 3rd person to earn my dinner. Like that, like she said, if your PPA is at 0 and you're on here right now, there's literally only one other number it can become. And that's 1, and then 2, and then 3. So if you have hit 0, cool. I've hit it before too. There's one way to go from that, Kelly. I love that. How many, I didn't know the little attitude about that detox thing. That's so funny. Tell us, how many detoxes did you end up enrolling?
Honestly, I don't know. I think I'm at like 13 detoxes, but I have 19 new customers since I got back up and stood up.
He scammed a lot of people.
That's insane. That's literally a flip of a switch. That is insane. I'm so proud of you. I know this question was, how did you do it? I watched her literally go, why am I not talking about the detox? I've been sick as shit. I'm going to talk about this. And she literally just started talking about, hey, I think, not that it's going to cure her. Hey, I'm feeling better now, but I want to get rid of all this yuck that may be still in my body. I'm going to detox, and just talked about it. Kelly, what was your other aha? Because I remember Kelly is my friend that she doesn't send one text message. She's the friend that sends like 4 words and then 7 words and then 10 words. And like, literally, I can just envision her sitting there like, and you know what else, Court? And you know what else? And I haven't even read them, but she was just like on a roll with her epiphany that she had watching a girl in another company. And tell us, what was that? And what was your fear? Because I would say this, yes, you got knocked down in January, but you were showing up in a completely different capacity than I've ever seen you show up before because of this one fear that you squashed.
Mm-hmm. So am I allowed to say like the company, like what I was actually doing? You want me to say that?
Yeah, I don't care.
Okay. So I'm someone who really likes to learn from other leaders, you guys. So I don't care who you are, what rank you are, what company you're with. If you are doing something well, I want to know what you're doing, and I want to try to do it myself too, right? So I've been watching these girls from Monet, and I use their products, love their products, right? Great products. And I'm watching them send screenshots of their personal volume, their personal customer volume, okay? Not overall volume, personal volume. These girls are hitting like 50 to 80,000 a month in personal customer sales. And so I'm watching and I'm like, okay, like pretty sure if they can do 50 grand a month in personal customer sales, then like we should all be knocking Auto Elite out of the parks, right? So I'm like, I'm going to learn. And what I found was that they are super repetitive. Okay. They literally look like a broken record. They will share the exact same sales slides that are kind of like pre-made with Canva, like an overlay over a photo 2 times a day when there's a sale. Every single day for 5, 6, 7 days straight. They will share the exact same reels, the exact same before and after photos. In my head, when I initially saw it, I was like, wow, you guys are going to get unfollowed. That's the easiest way to piss off your customer base, right? But like I'm wrong, obviously, because what they're doing is working. And also I stayed watching their stories and I'm like, okay, if I've seen this exact same slide 75 times now and I'm still sitting here clicking through her stories.
Is it though? Because are the people who are purchasing people who are seeing these slides, or is it the consultants that are purchasing? Because it could all be a mirage that they're putting on where they're buying all of the product to make it look like they're making money, when in all actuality, they're the ones buying the product and they're just getting a rebate on their products. And I can say that I was somebody who did this in the MLMs that I was in to make it look better and to also keep my rank and get bonuses and all of those things. But again, I lost money. I never made money.
And also tempted to order more products. Clearly what they're doing is working. And so with this detox, I decided to take that approach. Allie calls it teeing it up, you guys. Meaning like essentially don't just go into this blind. Like don't just throw up a photo of a company made detox and say, who wants to try it? $25 off, 15% off. Let me know if you want to order. Like nobody's going to feel anything from that post. So you got to set it up. And so my strategy with that was, okay, be vulnerable, share what I've been through, talk about what I'm hoping it's going to do. And then I talked about this dang detox all day long, wall stories for days in a row. That was before I even had it at my doorstep. So I was talking about other people's results. So if you guys did detox in January and I had your photo, you probably got shared on my story, or you got sent to an inbox of somebody who I was talking to. I talked about waiting for it to get to my doorstep. I talked about perfecting my grocery list. I talked about what my mindset was going to be going into it, just around the nutritional shifts. I talked about it over and over and over again to the point where in my head, I'm like, this feels so cringe. Like, is this wrong? Is anyone going to still listen to me? Does anyone care?
Probably not.
Annoying the absolute crap out of people. But it works. Like people honestly need to see the same thing over and over again. And I think the official number for like sales-based businesses is that like people need to see something 7 times before they're ready to commit. And in my head, I'm like, cool, it's February the 3rd. We've got until February the 14th to get these accounts in for $25 preload, which means I better get talking about this a lot right now if I want to give every single person 7 chances to see what I'm saying. And so my advice would be to be a broken record. And I told my team that, like, talk about it all the time, share before and after results all the time. I think that like in my head, I had a little bit of PTSD, network marketing PTSD from in my early companies. We would just spam before and after pictures all day, every day. It was like 3 times on your wall. We didn't know who these people were. They were strangers. We don't know what products they use. We don't even know if they were technically even products of the product. We were like, hey, try our product. Here's before and after. So that whole wall was of like people's bellies. And I lost friends like that and followers and got blocked a whole bunch of times. And so I just was like, man, I don't want to share before and afters, but you guys, people don't want to be told. They want to be shown. And so if you're trying to tell someone that a detox works or that the 3 steps elite plus balance works, then the best thing you can do is show them the before and after of someone who's used it. The best before and after, which we're going to talk about here with Allie in a second, is your own.
I love that, Kelly. Yeah, I think a lot of us have the same PTSD of sharing this before and afters. And if you really dig into that fear, I would say, Kelly, we hoped in our last company that our customers forgot who we were, because we knew they weren't going to fill the products. You know, it's different here. We are positioned differently. We have that confidence of, no, you're going to feel really good. And the cool thing is too, like I posted the other day, you know, my before and after, and then I was like, hey, Thrivers, drop yours. And like to see that these are real people. So if you need some stuff for your stories, go back to my post on my wall and take everyone's before and after and save it in your phone. Boom, you're going to have plenty of social proof of that our products are working. But when people see other people like chiming in, chipping in and being like, yeah, I feel great. Yeah, it makes it real. It makes it come alive. It doesn't make it some like internet fad that you wonder if they even know the person. When you're like, oh my gosh, yes, Susie, and right before your wedding, and there's like relationships there's substance there, because our products are something you need to remember, that you could walk up to a stranger on the street and not say, can I, I'm not trying to be like mean, but not like, can I wrap your belly? You're like, hey, I'm going to knock your socks off. You're going to feel amazing. Take this, call me tomorrow, because you can feel it working. Remember that. Like, channel that confidence when you're posting that we got some good shit. Okay. Most people want to know, like, is it legal once they try it, because they feel so good. So have that confidence and don't be afraid to over post in a classy manner.
We have some good shit. I think she's the same one that said, is she the same one that said that before? I think she was. I remember reacting to somebody recently-ish that said, well, we have good shit. Like, that doesn't make you a legitimate company. It doesn't make you a legitimate business model just because you have good shit. Again, it doesn't work that way.
An authentic manner. If 75 people ordered from you and they had 75 amazing before and afters and they were standing around jumping up and down like, oh my God, it feels so great, would you be like, this is cringe? No, look at Laura Burris. I'm like telling my husband, I'm like, look at Laura. And he's like, damn, she looks good. I'm like, she does look good. Like, I'm proud of our community and our before and afters. Like, it is wild to me. It is wild, the transformations that are happening on this team. Kelly, I'm going to pass it back to you. I have one more question from you. And speaking of transformations, oh, Allie, there's so much craziness about your transformation. It's just crazy to me. So what is your number one tip for your daily and weekly PPA bonus pay? I'll tell you right now, again, Kelly's like the Energizer Bunny. She's like, Courtney, if I do this amount of times, I can pay my mortgage. And if I do it and I times that by 2, I can pay twice my mortgage. And like, her brain is not going, well, her brain is like on crack right now.
That was unprofessional.
I've got to get this. Like, I'm chasing this. Like, this is insane. I know what this can do for my kids. Because guess what, too? I'm just going to say it. Kelly's bonus runs out soon. And we've all been there. We all know that we can adjust our lifestyle to a bonus season. But we all know when our bonuses run out, you will be still on the incline of creating that insane residual income. I always tell you, don't go blow your bonus money. Don't go and start living like that bonus every single week. And Kelly's like, I'm recouping this. I'm creating an income this way. And it's so cool to see you so positive and going, she literally is like, I am coming for every single thing I can get out of this bonus run for the next few months. So Kelly, talk to us about your biggest tip every single day. How many days in a row have you hit this 400 PPA?
I hit it Saturday, Sunday, and I'm waiting on the customer to go in right now. I'm just like stalking my phone like a freak just to make sure she submits it for to hit it a 3rd day in a row.
That's insane. I'm so dang proud of you. Okay, tell us, what is your biggest tip for that?
Okay, so it's not really like a biggest tip. I just want to talk about it for a second. Okay, so you're one of 2 people right now, you guys. You're either sitting there behind that screen when this bonus dropped and you're thinking, man, 400 a day. I've never done 400 a day. This is too hard. And you're counting yourself out. Or you're looking at this as, oh my God, 400 a day, that's it. And they're going to give me $200 cash and 100 in credits. Like, game on. you have to be person number 2. You actually don't have any time to sit and waste to be person number 1. You guys, the ball that corporate just threw us is so, it actually took me a full day to even talk about it, because like I didn't know what to say. It was the first time in network marketing that I was actually speechless. Like, we're doing what? You're paying us how much on this much amount of volume? Like, it just doesn't even make sense to me. But I'm the type of person where it's like, if you give me the ball, like put me in. Like, if it's a tie ball game and it's you know, the score is, or the count is 3-2 and the base is loaded, like put me up to bat. I want to swing to hit the home run. And that's what we're going to do with this, you guys. So you have to understand that like this opportunity that you have for the next month and a half will probably never be here. Shouldn't say probably. I have a feeling that if we knock this one out of the court or out of the park and corporate sees how much we love this, that like maybe it could be brought back again at some point, but you guys just take it while it's here and run with it. Okay. The worst thing that you can do right now is have a day where, let's say you put in like 150 PPA, or you have 250 PPA, or even worse, you're at like 350, 365, and you come in, you know, the next day and you're like, man, last night sucked. Like, oh, I'm so frustrated. I only had 365 in PPA. You guys have to remember that like, in any other day that wasn't right now where we have these bonuses, 365 a day or 300 a day or 250 a day, that's an incredible day. Honestly, if you're doing 300 to 400 a day in personal volume, you're like your own 12K in customer volume without even having a team. And so I want you to be so extra careful right now about your mindset. Every single time you hit this bonus, it's extra. Okay. So like what he said, yeah, I like to break it down in numbers. If I hit it 1 time, that pays my electric bill for the month. If I hit it 2 times, it pays for like 2 weeks of groceries. If I hit it 3, like think about how many times do you have to hit that bonus to cover the gaps of where you're maybe lacking at right now.
If, what is the probability of that happening? Very, very low, my friend. Very, very low.
And so that's my mindset on it. As far as a tip goes, this is what I'm doing personally. This is what I've shared with my team. You don't have to do this. I will never tell you that in order to be successful, you have to do everything that we're doing, but I will tell you what I'm doing that's working. So 400 in PPA unlocks it, right? The easiest way to hit 400 in PPA for me is a new promoter on a $400 pack. If you are someone who doesn't regularly enroll on 400 packs, I want you to kind of check yourself right now. Okay, the $400 pack is an amazing value. So you're going to have someone who's getting a full month of Thrive for themselves, which is crucial. They need to be on the product. They need to be sharing it. They need to have, you know, their own personal testimony, photos with the product, something to talk about, like for sure. New promoters need their own product, right? But also it gives them a whole extra month where now they're going to be able to have 5 to 10 people on Thrive in their first week of doing a business. We all know GPOT, right? Like if you get people on Thrive, that will convert.
GPOT, get people on Thrive. They came up with their own acronym. My mom always told me that if I don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. But clearly I don't listen, so I'm just going to go ahead and say it. That is fucking corny. These people will never disappoint when it comes to the amount of cringe that we experience in these team trainings. Ever, never, ever.
So I want my new promoters on $400 packs because I know that if they hustle to get those samples out, 1, they're getting cash back in their pockets. 2, they have a funnel of 5 to 10 people in their immediate circle who are already trying Thrive. And then those usually are going to be the ones who convert to either customers in their bonus period or promoters. Plus you got the $10, $20 off codes. And so what I'm personally doing is I'm saying 1 person a day from today through the end of March 31st. The first new promoter is going to get $100 off that 400 pack. It's going to be a direct Venmo back to them. I hope this is compliant. If it's not, y'all didn't hear it. But I'm doing that because
if this isn't compliant, you didn't hear it. Yeah, that works. That totally works. And you should probably know what's compliant. If you're at the top of the company or close to the top of the company and you're taking part in this training call, you should definitely, absolutely know what is and what is not compliant. There shouldn't be a question there.
Guys, we get an $80 fast start on a $400 pack, okay? Right now, corporate is giving you $200. So if you give back that gift that corporate just gave to us back to your new promoter that you're blessing, you're still at positive $100 from that bonus, plus another $100 in credits. So honestly, it's a win-win. I know that in order to trigger new blood and new fire, new excitement, new volume in our organizations, we need new promoters. Right? If you are short from your goal right now, let's say you're shooting for 4K, 12K, 40K, you're probably just short from manpower alone, not from efforts, not from lack of customers, not from lack of talking about it. You need more manpower. And so my strategy right now is just to bring in as many people brand new in the business as we possibly can. If it means I'm giving them $100 off their order, then that's the way we're going to do it. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. And I'm just basically making it like 1 a day. When it's gone, it's gone. So it's not really like, you know, it's not really like a super aggressive first, you know what I'm saying?
No, I love that, Kelly, and I think it's so important. I always will tell you as your leader, I will never make you put money into your business, that we can thrive for free. But I think it's super important to know when it makes sense if you're able to. I always say things like triple fast starts, where you are more than recouping your investment back to run your own personal specials. We're actually super lucky that we can do that. There are other companies where you can't do that. We are very blessed that you can do that here. And we don't have that expectation of you. I want to make that very clear. I don't ever look at you and go, well, you should be doing that. I look at you and go, so many people say, should I do something like that? And I'm like, let's talk about if it makes sense. And there are times where I've told a lot of you, it doesn't make sense right now. That's not going to pay off. You're going to be in the negative. Don't do that. Wait until it makes sense. It makes sense. If that's you and the shoe fits right now, and you're wondering like when it makes sense, yes, it makes sense right now to do what Kelly just said, for sure. Kelly, I'm going to pass it over to you so you can talk to Allie.
Okay. Allie, we're going to wrap this up pretty quickly. We only got 12 minutes. Okay. So, you had an epiphany the other day when we were talking about the daily bonuses, what's on the table for us, it's $200. Like, can you just share about that for a second?
I'm going to skip over a lot of what I had because everyone has touched on it, but so that's kind of good that we don't have a lot of time because I don't know that I have 12 minutes to fill. But I wanted to say one thing really quick on what Kelly said. Make sure that you remember that if you are Venmoing people the 100 or whatever, that you don't get reimbursed until the following Tuesday. So it's not paid out the next day. Some people were confused on that whenever it first got launched with daily pay. So just have that in your head. And an alternative would be if you didn't have the funds immediately to Venmo them, you could tell them, hey, I'm going to Venmo you on Tuesday whenever I get this paid out. And I think that most people would say, okay. So anyways, I just wanted to clarify that. And then, so this is actually something I haven't said, I don't think, but I added something. So I hope it's okay. It might be a hot take it or leave it. Like you always know that with me, but I'm going to give you a hot take on lack mentality and kind of piggyback off of Kelly and what she said about keeping your mindset in check right now. So like I have enrolled a customer every single day since this bonus got put out. Okay. Ask me how many times I've hit the 400. One. Okay. But I didn't take those customers and say, oh, I'm going to wait to put that in tomorrow. Oh, I'm going to wait to put that in tomorrow. No, I'm putting stuff in as it comes in, unless it was like 11:59. Like I'm not stupid, but I'm not waiting, like, because there's a chance that that person changes their mind, whatever. Like, no, I want the PPA for the trip. I want Court's dinner. I want the PPA for myself. Like, I just want it all. So like, get out of your head and quit being like, well, I'm not going to put in any orders until I have 400. Right? Like that doesn't make any sense. Plus we had a President's Day sale and corporate like tossed us a softball with that one. So like get out of your head and don't have that lack mentality. Like there are enough customers. They are coming and they are going to keep coming. Don't get in your own way on that one.
Just don't let them have enough time to change their minds and realize what the fuck they're getting themselves into.
So here was my actual like epiphany, and Courtney actually kind of touched on this too. So my bonus money payout ran out last month. So I personally am trying to hit the day 8 times to secure the 1,700. It's really 1,600, but 1,700 that I'm not getting from bonus payouts.
Wait, excuse me, how much?
While I'm working towards the next rank advancement bonus. That's just how my works. You know, every day is an opportunity to hit 400, and this is like the best promo because it stacks with everything. Like if you have been out of the loop, just know there are like 15 things going on right now. Just get your orders in. and like
she just out of nowhere lost $1,700 a month. No big deal. Totally fine. No, that's a big chunk of money. And that's a red flag for your business that you're in.
At minimum, you're going to get a paycheck. Okay? You get a trip or you get a dinner or you get a bonus. Like that's all extra, right? You know, and our compensation plan at its bare bones is the best. Like it really is. And so just keep that in mind. And if your bonus money like ran out, figure out how much you got to do to recoup that bonus money.
Yeah, I love that. That's really, really good. So let's just be real, okay? Your inbox is blowing up right now. I feel like all day long you're like, ooh, I got another one. Ooh, I got another one. People who you've like never talked to before, people you've been friends with for forever, and they were never interested before, but all of a sudden your inbox is full, right? And I feel like I'm just gonna say it. You admitted it. You had a rough season for a little bit. You're like, where are my enrollments? I'm panicking. Like I need Courtney's dinner. Like why is my PPA low? And you're like, I'm working. I'm planning my seeds. I'm doing all the things, right? What did you do differently this past month and a half to fix that?
So yes, Kelly called me out. So if you were one of those people that she mentioned at the beginning that was sitting with a big goose egg, I also had a big goose egg at the beginning of the month running towards Courtney's dinner, and I hit it today. So yay for me, whatever, but don't count yourself out. That's the message. Don't worry about me hitting the dinner. What I have done differently. So I think a big mistake that a lot of people make in the industry, especially health and wellness, and I say this as nicely as possible, because it was me prior to very recently-ish, is that whenever you rep health and wellness products, sometimes you get in your own head and you think that the results have to strictly come from that product that you're using, and that you can't do anything else to help yourself out. Like diet, who's on a diet? Workouts, who works out? Like, you know, and you think that your results have to come from this one magic thing or whatever, and that is not true. Okay, like first of all, it's not true. As long as you are upfront and honest with people, it literally doesn't matter how you get your results. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. And what I did was, obviously I signed up for Ultimate Driver. I've been on this postpartum weight loss journey for 9 months now, but leading up to like the past month and a half, you know, I've been super honest with people that, you know, I'm doing a lot of things. Like I'm paying attention to my calories and my macros. I'm prioritizing protein. I'm working out whenever I have time. My husband is probably laughing at me talking about how much I work out, but I try to work out like, you know, 3 times a week or something. Okay. It's not rigorous. All right.
Okay, that is fabulous. That is cool. I love the idea of being transparent. Unfortunately, most of these consultants will not be transparent, and they will credit fully the product that they are trying to sell and get people on board to also sell. Also, most of the time when these people are promoting the product so heavily, even if they are being transparent about being on a diet or working out or eating differently, whatever it is, they're still crediting heavily the product that they're trying to get people on board with. And that's the problem, because likely the product that you're using has almost nothing to do with your results if you are exercising, counting your calories, counting your macros, whatever you're doing. Unless, of course, we're talking about FDA approved medications and things like that. That's a different story. Here, we're talking about an unregulated sector of the universe, which is supplements. There's no regulation there. There's no testing that needs to be had. There's no proof that this works. There's none of that. So for them to be promoting this as something that is making them change the way they look or feel or how much they weigh, whatever it is, it's just, in my opinion, false advertising, and you're blowing smoke up people's asses every single day.
But I'm doing the things, right? And I think that whenever people start to see you doing all the things, you become more transparent in what you're doing, instead of saying like, hey, I have these magical unicorn tears, buy them, right? Like people know that my results did not just come from Thrive. Like if you look at my pictures, like you know that that is not all I did. People say, what are you doing? And I'm so honest about it. And I think that that is why I'm getting the enrollments, because people are like, teach me what you're doing. I don't understand. I don't know what a macro is. I don't know how to count calories. Like, I don't know, what app are you using? What workouts are you doing?
Are you a nutrition coach? Are you a personal trainer? Are you a dietitian? Are you any of those things that are qualified to help them with that? Because if you're not, you should not be telling people that you can help them with that. You don't have the proper training to do so. It's not one size fits all. And if you're going around saying this worked for me, so it's definitely going to work for you, you are very clearly uneducated, because that is not at all how it works, ever. Ever.
And, you know, I have a master's degree in education. And so, like, this is my outlet to be like,
there we go. That answered the question.
yeah, it's like, let me help you. And so, like, yes, they're buying a product. Yes, they're a customer, but they're getting a whole ass service that they didn't pay for whenever they become my customer, because I'm going to teach them how to do the things that they really want to do it. Now, it's up to them on if they actually count the calories, but I can at least guide them and use a lot of our pre-made stuff to help them out. And so I think whenever you switch to highlighting overall health and wellness and talking about all of the things, you really, you know, start to become, you know, that authority figure, and people start to believe what you're saying, and they're like, okay, this makes sense. Like, I want to learn from her. And so I just really think that that is one of the biggest parts. The other, obviously, getting your own results. I had 6-week Ultimate Driver results that I posted. And, you know, it's just walking the walk and not just talking the talk, and take the pictures, update your pictures often. I think that was an epiphany for me. So like I had this one picture that I used that was my starting photo, and I reposted it today. You can go look at it. But I had this one picture, and I kept using that with like a new update. But I think it was interesting for people to see a 6-week update. So if you want to do a 1-month update, a 2-month update, a 3-month update, like not using your like very first picture you ever took, especially if you've been here for a while. So like take a new time frame, because sometimes people are like, oh, like it took you a year, like, whew. Like, I don't know if I have it in me to do it a year. You know what I mean? So like, you got to have those different time frames, because a different time frame is going to hit a different audience, I think.
There's nothing wrong with it taking a year. You shouldn't be losing weight so quickly that it's unrealistic. And if you were educated, you would be okay with people knowing, hey, it took me a year to get to this point. And that's the way to do it, because that's the way you're going to be able to sustain it. That's the way you're going to be able to feel good. You're not going to lose your hair probably. There are many things that come with losing weight quickly that are just not good for you. You should be doing it in a healthy way, slowly, steadily, so you feel good. That's the purpose of doing it.
Yeah, I think that just never really straying from getting my own personal results. When I came back this time, that was my motto, is this time it's personal. So whenever you do that and, you stick to your word and you do what you say you're going to do, like, people start to ultimately trust you more, and you start to become more likable. People want to root for you, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, whenever you're doing the things and people are like, man, like, I'm glad she got those results. So
yeah, I love that, because that answer is truly so simple, right? Like, it's something that we all should know and probably do know, but it's twofold. It's get your own results, talk about it all the time in multiple different ways. Allie, you're so good about like sharing the same story, but in like different lights to different people, different phrasing, things like that. But also positioning yourself as the expert in this space. You want to be the person that people think about when they're like, okay, now I have my tax return money. Now it's time to get healthy for spring break and get in shape. Now I want to feel good by summertime. Who do I know on my timeline that is eating well and taking care of their body and has really amazing supplements? Like, they need to think about you as soon as that light bulb goes off for them. Okay, and then last question. I forget the book you were reading, Allie. You told me the other day, but there was something that you read to me, and we both were like, oh my gosh, it was about like being consistent and just kind of like those percentages. Could you just like share that part?
yeah, so I'll jump to I'll paraphrase because I know this is getting long. So the first takeaway was don't break the chain. So he related it to several very successful people. He highlighted a comedian who writes a joke every single day. It's called Atomic Habits by James Clear. I know that's gonna be a question. And he wasn't focused on if the joke was good or if it would be well received or anything like that. He was unattached to the outcome. And Courtney talks about this a lot, that you got to be attached to the action of what you're doing, not about the results. And so I thought that was really cool to hear like a different take about a joke and a comedian. And then he said the difference between people who are successful and who are not is how quickly you get back up. So inevitably you're going to miss a day and you're going to break the chain. So the second piece of advice was don't miss twice. So even if you're, doing your workouts or whatever, and you got to do one push-up, do one push-up and count it, because you can't break that chain. And then lastly, on consistency, it's the days that are hard to show up that are actually the most important. That's when the habit is truly born. And it's the day that you become somebody that works out, despite your motivation or circumstances. And so he had this statistic, and like, you might have to write this down for your brain to process it, because Kelly and I still can't verbally repeat it without reading it. So I'm going to read it to you, and I'm going to try to talk slow. So $100 grows 50% to $150. It only takes a 33% loss to take you back to 100. So it took you a 50% gain to get to 150. It only takes a 33% loss to get you back to 100. So avoiding a 33% loss is just as valuable as a 50% gain.
What the fuck does that have to do with anything? Like, what the fuck? What is, I don't know, guys. I don't know.
Basically, avoiding breaking the chain at all costs, even if you just do one push-up or one joke, is going to keep the progress moving forward versus taking that 33% loss for the day. If you take 33% loss multiple days in a row and that compound, you're losing a whole lot of times in a row, and you don't want to do that. And if you're always consistent, you'll always be ready to catch the ball.
Yeah, I heard
to a point.
Everybody's brains just like,
I had to put a Courtney reference in there.
Yeah, I just feel like that's so crazy that like you said, the people who miss 2 days in a row, like that's when you start to really fall behind. But winners never miss more than 2 days in a row. You're allowed to miss one, but after that, it starts to compound very, very quickly. So it's so simple. As long as you just like keep.
You're allowed to miss one. Time freedom who?
Going a little bit day by day, even if it's like the simplest action, move the needle, you are in fact moving forward, not backwards. So Court, I'm gonna pass it back to you. Just because I know it's 10 o'clock, it's probably time to wrap up.
I love you women so much. Like, kiss your brain, Allie. From one former educator to another, you're so smart. And I'm just so proud of you. I've watched both of you just completely, I've always been in awe of you, but completely just like reignite your own fire and dig deep and find it within yourself to be like, okay, nope, this is a new journey. Same mission, same goal, different energy. And it's evident in everything you're doing, in the way you talk, in the way you carry yourself, in the way you encourage your team. I'm just really, really in awe and really proud of both of you so, so much. thank you for sharing tonight. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. Thank you for being vulnerable, because like you've heard from both of them, I mean, especially like Kelly in January, like she fell down and like she got up and she fell back down, like over like every single day. But it doesn't mean that you can't go from 0 to whatever your goal is. You just have to decide that you're going to get back up, and eventually you're going to make progress. But I love, Allie, that I got to go get a calculator after this, because I'm a huge number person, and to think that like it takes that much to gain, but only I need to read that book. I have that book. I need to go read that book. It sounds really good, because yeah.
Do the smart notes.
Okay.
Thank you some time.
Thank you so much. Cliff, Jason, thank you for being on here. Do you guys have anything else to add?
Jason, I'll let you wrap us up. Look, amazing stuff, Allie and Kelly. I want to applaud you first for what y'all been able to do. Yeah, we're gonna fall, we're gonna trip. It's how quickly can you get back up and just keep going, right? You learn more from failing than you ever will from winning, and so that's an old cliche that everybody said, but it's true. And so just continue doing it. The duplication is easy. It's get in there and get those 400 packs sold. That's going to be your easiest way to do it. Poop.
There it is, the duplication.
You hit 400 PPA. You're talking the talk and walking the walk, right? This is for everybody out there to get going, to get new volume, get new legs, and celebrate the success of new promoters that you just brought on. That power and that energy will move your teams further than you trying to grind constantly every single day. It's getting the new blood, getting the new leaders that you know are going to be successful with you. The sky's the limit. So, Jason, I'll turn it over to you. Let you close this out.
Hey, thank you. I know the time is short, but Courtney, Kelly, Allie, you guys are awesome. I've seen a lot of leaders in 25 years, and I got to be honest. Everyone that's on this call and on this team, those three are three of the best leaders that I've ever seen in a group. So, and I don't just give that out freely. Each of you come with a different perspective, and love the thought process, Kelly, of being creative, right? Like, this is your business.
This is your business, says the VP of Strategy and Growth. No, it's definitely not. This is your contracted job. That's what it is. You are not the owner of Le-Vel. You do not control the VP of Strategy and Growth, nor do you control the VP of Operations. But you know, what do I know?
Think about pouring money back into your business. If you want a business to grow, you've got to plow money back into that business, essentially. And so love the creativity, Allie, Kelly, Courtney, love the energy. You guys are on fire. I think there's no surprise here. This is probably one of the last major team leaders that I have not been on yet. And wow, you guys have a phenomenal team, a phenomenal group. Every one of you that are on here, just get behind them. Use them for three-way calls. When you pique someone's interest, you know, get Kelly or Allie on the phone and let them close them out, right? Get Courtney on the phone. They have the model to grow. If you want to be 600K, follow them. If you want to be 12K, follow them. Whatever it is, you need to follow and duplicate what they're doing, and then use your God-given talents and resources, and you guys will be awesome. So thanks again for the time. You guys are awesome.
Please don't duplicate yourself. I still don't know what they mean when they say duplicate, duplication, make it duplicatable. Like, why? What are you duplicating? What the fuck are you duplicating? I think they just like to say it to make it sound like they're doing something, but they're really not. Okay, listen, guys. I have to run, so I do not have a TikTok hates your bullshit for today, and I'm so sorry. I will put 2 in the next video, I promise. Also, if you are not subscribed and you liked this video, please hit subscribe. I would appreciate it so much, so that I can hit the 10,000 subscribers by July 1st and get that low taper fade undercut. Like the video, dislike it if you didn't like it, whatever you want to do. And as always, thanks for hanging out with me while I talk a bunch of shit, and I will see you in the next one.
I'm winning, get buckets from the court side to the nosebleeds, yeah, they love it. I'm winning, get buckets from the first in and the last out, see me coming.